We woke up in the middle of the night hearing her screaming. We found her in the kitchen. She was just walking aimlessly. Her eyes were wild. I looked in her bed and she had vomited in the bed, and I thought maybe she just had a bad stomach virus.
Chris and Ashley Morris knew something wasn't right with their 5-year-old daughter, Zoe.
She passed out in my arms, and at that point, I knew something was definitely wrong.
They took Zoe to a 24-hour emergency clinic nearby. Dr. Kenneth Jones knew at once what to look for.
You're vomiting, passing out, and then actually seeing Zoe unconscious. I said something is going on brain-wise.
He ordered a CAT scan that confirmed his suspicions. Zoe had a brain hemorrhage the size of a golf ball.
With the brain bleed, the pressure pushes brain tissue down the spinal cord. We call it herniation of the brain, and that is something that cannot be fixed.
I'm freaking out. It's the worst thing you could ever have happen to your kid.
That is when I started coming into extreme warfare prayer, and I was just telling the Lord, I need you, and you need to come down and touch this baby.
Zoe was transferred to Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, where she was put into a medically induced coma. Ashley's parents and Zoe's older brother, Zach, arrived moments later. They prayed over Zoe before she was taken into ICU for testing.
I'd definitely like to take her place at that point.
Doctors discovered a tangled mass of abnormal blood vessels known as an arteriovenous malformation, or AVM, and it had burst.
When you have increased pressure in the brain, cutting off blood flow to itself, it dies.
The bleeding stopped the next evening, but the pressure was still at critical levels. Hoping to avoid surgery, doctors decided to wait a few days to see if the pressure would go down on its own and then treat the AVM with radiation. All her family could do was wait and pray.
We weren't 100% sure that we would leave the hospital with Zoe. And if we were able to leave with her, whether she would be the same Zoe.
By now, Ashley's brother had created a Facebook page to get the word out about Zoe's condition. Thousands posted prayers of support and encouragement for Zoe and the family.
Because we were so tired and so uncertain, there were times that we didn't know what to pray. And just knowing that there were so many other people standing in the gap, and there was a sense of peace that came with that.
Zoe had been in observation for 2 days when her brain pressure spiked, and doctors had to prep her for emergency surgery. Doctors said Zoe had a strong chance of surviving, but due to the location of the AVM, her ability to talk and reason could be severely affected.
A Zoe that loves to sing and dance, that cares for everyone.
Okay, guys, now my mom video.
She's so kind and loving, and just thinking, God, I don't know how I can look at a mother and daughter again if you take my daughter from me.
And I said, God, it's in your hands. I know you're gonna make the call of what happens with Zoe, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I remember I just felt at peace, and the tears just left. Just let him do his thing.
As Zoe was taken into surgery, friends and family gathered in the hospital's small chapel for worship and prayer.
One of Zoe's favorite songs is Thy Will Be Done by Hillary Scott. And I just prayed that and just told the Lord, this is in your hands. I don't understand it, but we give it to you, we trust you.
After 5 hours of surgery, the doctors gave the news that they had safely removed the AVM.
We just said, thank you, God, That was awesome to get that news. We needed it.
Again, they would have to wait, this time to see if there would be any long-term effects. Several days later, they started bringing Zoe out of the coma.
When she began to wake up, I said, can I sit with her? And they released me to jump in the bed with her. She could feel my presence. It really seemed like a turning point for what we were going to experience in the days to come.
Then, a few days later,
Her grandma came in and she yelled, Mimi!
What? That's somebody's hat.
That was the first time she had spoken. We didn't think she was ever going to talk again. So that was awesome to see. That was God again.
with physical therapy, Zoe began regaining her strength. After 6 weeks in the hospital, she went home.
Very pleased with her walking.
When this happens in a kid in particular, usually they don't make it. But with her, with a golf-sized ball bleed, I tell you, it's just a miracle that she's here.
Today, Zoe is still that happy, energetic, loving little girl. She and her family are grateful for the prayers that brought them through.
They say when two or more come together in prayer that he hears us, and it's absolutely true.
There's just no doubt about that she is a miracle. She's just 100% back to where she was and even better than ever.
Thank you for praying for me.